Welcome back, everybody. I'm way too excited about Gothic, and I need to talk about Sorcery more. Chase posted a link to a TCG article on cards you should buy before Gothic, and I'm like, I'm gonna steal that as a video idea. So here we are. I'm not gonna go through their exact list, but I will leave a link of that in the description. And just to start out, we're gonna start with some artifacts that I think might be really good going into Gothic. The cores are in a weird spot. We don't have enough card advantage to make them feel okay outside of Sorcerer. The threshold fixing is nice. The ramp is really good, but in Sorcery, if you ramp out a big thing like a mix into a Hydra, and then your opponent just spends one card to deal with it, like a Berry or a Poison Nova or something, it feels not feels bad. It feels bad. Like you spent two cards for your one. So like ramp is in a weird spot for sorcery just because it costs so much for those cards. So if we get any more generic card draw, cantrips, I don't know, something to make drawing cards a little bit easier, I think the cores are going to be really strong. The other one mana artifact things that are really, just seems broken is Trinket. Trinket is just like I don't know. People have said Trinket has been good for the past 2 years. I don't know what else to say about it. It was really funny in the beginning. Tor's Hammer Trinket, nobody played it because it was a card that always kept in your hand, and it was this like weird feels bad because like late in the game you'd always have two trinkets in hand. It's like, why do I have these? I want more. I need more minions, without really understanding that Tor's Hammer Trinket helps minions trade efficiently. So I really think a playset of trinkets would be really strong going into Gothic. And then we've seen sites just spoiled, like Darkest Dungeon and what's the other ones? Sites with really good effects. We've already seen spoiled. Like some of the ordinary sites that say break all wards. Like this you might need smokestacks to keep your wards around to avoid the nearby ward breaking site. So smokestacks is site interaction, and if we keep getting these powerful sites and these powerful effects, you're going to need some ways to deal with that. So smokestacks, and moving on to the next one is sinkhole. Sinkhole, for that exact same reason, you're going to have to fight your opponent's sites pressure. I don't know how to explain it, but you need ways to interact with your opponent's sites, and like smokestacks and sinkholes are the most efficient ways to do that because they come on a land. Like I can put in Hamlets Ablaze or the other site destruction auras, but those are spending cards to interact with sites. You don't want to be spending cards to interact with your opponent's free effects. So sinkholes should be up on everybody's list. And speaking about sites, the tri-sites, they mentioned this in the article, tri-sites and lighthouse and other dual sites, these multi-threshold sites are really strong. I know a lot of people didn't like the castles, is what I call the three colors, in the beginning because like Earthquake removed your threshold and mana, but like it hasn't happened a whole lot. Maybe it's happened a bunch of twice to myself, but if somebody's playing an Earthquake, I'm already getting almost 2-for-1 probably, and this is just a little bonus. So like maybe I'm already losing that, and not because of this mana deficiency, but because Earthquake is a busted card. But tri-sites going into Gothic, I'm sure we've already seen the threshold cost of the unique demon that has 4 fire threshold. Just by that, I bet there's going to be more threshold costs in Gothic. So get your threshold, get it where you can. The tri-sites and then the duels as well. Both are really good pickups. And speaking of more sites and site effects, Babbling Brook minions are disabled to top nearby sites. These things are so good. If you need to buy a turn, if you need to like just have some breathing room, and we get some busted Genesis effects in Gothic, Babbling Brook can save you a turn. So you play this on 3, and you block any nearby Genesis effects, and that could be really strong. Just not knowing what's coming in Gothic, but I bet we get some cool Genesis effects and things you might need. And then more site effects. We've seen water get some big bodies And so, how do you move these bodies efficiently? So we have Shogoth or Elder Runes. Elder Runes. You cast, sack a thing, cast a Shogoth to here submerged. Undertow can drag that thing. So you sack something, you summon Shogoth, you play Undertow, and you make it walk a step. And so that free movement in the big water Leviathan scary monster deck could be really, really strong. Come out, like, play it back safely, play Undertow, move it up, and attack in. I think Undertow is criminally underplayed just because I think Water's underplayed. Maybe Water's not underplayed. I don't know. Undertow's good. The next one here is Tithe. This one, I don't know. I feel like Tithe should be better than it is. It's draw 3 sites. It's a 1 mana draw 3, but there's 3 Earth Threshold. Like, it seems like it should be really, really good. I don't know. Just maybe Tithe gets better in Gothic. Just a feeling. The next one is Poison Nova. Poison Nova is here because it's a board wipe for 5 mana, and it has 1 fire threshold. I doubt they're ever going to print something like Poison Nova where it's 1 fire threshold again, where it's so easy to splash this card. Poison Nova, I think, is going to be one of those high watermark cards from Gothic, or not from Gothic, from Beta, and I just don't see it, another card reaching this height of like 1 threshold. It's 5 mana, so like maybe there's some, but this is just a great 3-for-1 board wipe. Like, this is a very flexible card, and everybody should have a playset of Poison Novas. And speaking of board wipes, and I mentioned it earlier, Earthquake. Earthquakes are huge cards. Like, the movement of sites is alone enough to be on a card by itself. We see Atlas Wanderers like being a decent minion just because of the Genesis ability of moving sites. We're going to be seeing a lot more strong site effects, and so moving sites out of the way, or getting like just moving sites is good enough for a card. And then on top of this thing also 2-for-1s your opponent a lot of the time. It steals artifacts. It's almost a disenchant with removal. Like, Earthquake is an amazing card. The next one here is kind of a two-paired, just to represent an idea. Kind of like with Undertow, forced movement is such a strong effect in this game. So Riptide, and then to pair it with forced movement, Giant Shark could be just a good payoff. This could be anything. I'm just using it as a payoff for forced movement. So forced movement cards, especially Riptide, that replaces itself, says draw a card. This also draws a site. It doesn't have to draw a spell. I doubt we see a lot of draw a card in the future, like Blink and Riptide and Flanking Maneuver. I bet we see more like Gothic, or not Gothic, like AL, in the sense it says draw a site or draw a spell, where it's a specific card. Back in Beta, I'm sure they just just draw a card. It seems good. And it is, but it's probably a little too good for a 2-mana cantrip for that much choice. Maybe it's like 3-mana cantrips will say draw a card, and 2 mana will say draw a site or a spell to be just a little more narrow. But force movement things seem really strong going into Gothic. The other one here, we're going to go into a group of fire. Fire spoilers have already been insane. Fire charges are already showing really strong promising in meta decks. Like, fire is going to be good. So Infiltrate. Infiltrate is one of these hard removal spells. Not hard removal, big tempo things that you can attack in and put your opponent out of position, or you can attack your opponent with it and then remove it. And Infiltrate is such a flexible tempo removal spell. And then with the sites staying at 30, playing Watchtower just gets that little bit harder because there's other effects you want to be playing. So Infiltrate's still going to be a premier tempo removal spell. And again, 1 fire threshold. Crazy. It'd be hard not to mention this card. Morgana did take a little hit with the spellcaster stealth interacting with a realm nerf. But man, 3 mana draw 3 is is busted. Morgana draw a mix into something else, like, and then she replaces herself and has an extra card. Like, this great card. Hard to not undersell Morgana. More fire minions that are going to be good. Quarrelsome Kobolds is like one of those, maybe it gets replaced, but the upside of Kobolds is really, really strong. And then in that same vein, Violimps are just consistently good minions. What is a Lucana entity is a 5-mana 4/4 that kills something, and I think Violent it plays on that same axis of like kills something but leaves a minion behind. Sir Mordred is, I think, one of those minions that does that same thing, but it's too expensive. It's 6-mana 4/4, where Lucana Entity is 5-mana 4/4, and it has Voidwalk, so it has some kind of like evasion. So Violent is cheap, and then Quarrelsome Kobolds is also cheap, and plus deserts and trinkets and stuff. Like, these things are really frustrating to deal with. So there's two premier fire minions. A spicy one here is Scavenging Fiend. I think if Scavenging Fiend was a 2-mana 1/1 Genesis Conjure a Broken Artifact, it would see a lot more play. But Scavenging Fiend bring back some broken artifacts that we get in Gothic could be good. Like, I know it started with AL in the ring, and Scavenging Fiend to go get back the ring, and like, I don't know, it could be spicy. The next group is token payoffs. So Plague of Frogs is one of those, like, you pay 1 mana, 1 card, and you get 7 game objects. You just 7 game objects is the power there, and what do you do with those is kind of up to you. The next one, kind of like also the payoff, is Boudica. Like, this is a token payoff card, and we've seen Necromancer come out already and like swarm the board in Team Covenant's gameplay, and so maybe we get more token stuff. We're seeing what is the Master Necromancer and the Novice Necromancer that comes with more like 1/1s. If we just see a little more token stuff, I bet you see a Earth Fire or Water Fire or Air Fire token strategy could be really good, and Boudica is one of the best payoffs for that. The next one here is Root Spider. Root Spider is like on the same lines of Poison Nova. Poison Nova is 1 threshold. Root Spider is 1 threshold. This effect disabled is nuts. You can use this in the silence kind of list where you play minions with downsides and you remove those Genesis downsides. It also blocks and shuts down a whole avenue of attack. Root Spider is one of these like broken, very pushed beta cards just because it was early in the game, and Root Spider I don't think is going to get outclassed anytime soon. Another one here, Lady Iseult. Lady Iseult is another possible like combo piece. We saw in the beginning she's a part of the infinite combo with the ring and 1 mana minion, so you ping your minion, it bounces the hand, you play it again, and you can like do stuff and get infinite ring pings. Lady Iseult is a combo piece, but we're going to 60 cards, so if we get more redundant effects, but Lady Iseult is a questionable possible thing. Like, the effect is really strong. Bouncing things to hand is beyond good, but 1 out of 60 just makes it a little inconsistent. And then the other staple cards, I would say, are the Great Famine and the Black Plague from AL. These 2 cards are huge board control. You're almost never sad to see it on a top deck because it comes down, kills a thing, it protects you for a turn or 2. Black Plague and Great Famine are both really, really strong cards, and they're popular and the price has gone up, but I think they're still underplayed. These things are amazing. And then going into Gothic, a 4 mana hard removal that protects you. It's a hard ask to say there's going to be something better, but these are great cards. And the final one here is a little baby boy. Kettletop Leprechaun is so efficient, and if you're in Earth, I don't see how you don't play 3 or 4 of these in every Earth deck. They're so strong. They're early interaction. They're early, not early removal, but early minions to do something with. They are late game. They're a little awkward, but then they're just a chump blocker, so it's not too bad. But then they draw you a sight, and like these things are great. More people play more Kettletops, please. But yeah, I think that's about it. I'm sure there are other cards I've missed. Let me know in the comments what cards I missed and what cards you are picking up before Gothic. Thanks, everybody. I'll talk to you later.